This video is for question 42 for Peace Corps, and it says the author begins and ends the selection by bringing together the idea that. And so I have to figure out, in this question, what it's asking me is what idea does the author begin and end the selection with? That's it. So what is the idea that the author begins and ends the selection with? And so if I go back to my passage, the beginning paragraph is saying they're celebrating their 50th anniversary, and then it goes on to tell me what Peace Corps does and its mission. And so now I have to figure out which piece of that the author also ends the selection with and why. And so it's talking about their 50th anniversary, what they do, what type of service they do, and their mission. And so if I then go to the end of the passage, it ends with talking about President Kennedy's address, and that he says, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country, so serving your country. And then it says, more than 50 years later, Americans continue to respond to this challenge by joining Peace Corps. And so the idea that's presented both in the first paragraph and the last paragraph is this idea of service, even throughout the years. So even though 50 years have passed, people are country, right? People are promoting world peace and friendship, and they're continuing to respond by joining the Peace Corps. So even after 50 years, people are still being a part of the Peace Corps and joining the Peace Corps. And so out of my answer choices, I have to figure that out. And so answer choice F says 2011 marked a milestone in the history of the Peace Corps. That's true, and both the first paragraph and the last paragraph talk about it being 50 years later, but it doesn't really tell me why it's important. It doesn't give me a really big idea for this. I know this passage is about Peace Corps service, and that just seems like a detail to me. That may not be the right answer. Answer choice G says President Kennedy's 1961 address was the foundation that the Peace Corps was built. It mentions his address in the last paragraph, but it actually nowhere in this first paragraph talks about his address. So that's not true for paragraph 1, and I know I have to find something that's true for the beginning and end of the piece. It says that young people of America show good citizenship by joining the Peace Corps. It doesn't talk about citizenship. It does talk about serving the world, world peace and friendship, but it doesn't directly talk about citizenship in that first one, and it's what you do for your country. So yes, that kind of fits, but I think there might be a better answer. And so answer choice J says the Peace Corps is still a success 50 years after its founding. And so I know that's an idea that's brought up in the first paragraph by talking about the 50-year anniversary, and then that very last sentence is really important to help me understand. And so it says many Americans continue to respond to this challenge each year by joining the Peace Corps. The whole article talks about the kind of service that Peace Corps volunteers do, and ends by telling us people still continue to join. And so that's the answer choice that I'm going to choose, is answer choice J, that it's still a success 50 years after its founding.